Patrick's Day. Certainly, I hope you were able to get outside and enjoy what Betsy calls bonus degrees, because I think we got them in spades from the weather gods today. I know I did. Betsy Kling, Jay Crawford. Betsy, happy St. Patty's Day to you. What a day out.
It is beautiful. We deserve this weather, certainly. And, you know, we didn't get the parades and, you know, that kind of stuff. But folks are still celebrating. We're going to have more on just how they're celebrating and doing so safely coming up in just a few minutes.
We will. But, Betsy, today's big story is the mass vaccination clinic happening right now in Cleveland. Live pictures right now over the Wolstein Center here in downtown. By the end of the 8-week clinic, tens of thousands of Ohioans will be vaccinated for COVID-19. I also want you to take a look at the bottom left-hand portion of your screen. That QR code can be scanned by your smartphone. It has valuable vaccine information. We're going to explain in more detail how you use that in just a minute. But first, our Romney Smith spent hours at the Wolstein Center today hearing from people who got the vaccine.
As people steadily filed into the Wolstein Center in downtown Cleveland for their COVID-19 vaccination, we noticed almost everyone was excited. For Denise Helmick, she's now one step closer to seeing her grandkids.
I mean, walked in, sat down, got my shot, and walked out. I mean, they have it working like, woo, I'm sorry. You're fine. I mean, it was amazing.
The quick process appreciated by those wanting the shot.
They are very, very organized. My waiting time was just 2 minutes, and everything was just smooth.
Thousands of Ohioans are signed up to get the vaccine at the Wolstein Center. It was deliberately selected not only due to its location, but for who would have access to it in order to get the shot.
Of the more than 25,000 Ohioans who live within 1 mile of the Wolstein Center, more than 65% represent historically marginalized communities, and nearly 45% live below the poverty level.
Groups leaders say have been hit hard by the pandemic, including Mary Virden, whose daughter and grandchild caught and beat COVID-19.
I'm thinking I would rather have this shot than to have the disease. That's the bottom line, so that's why I'm here.
If you're still on the fence, those who got their first of 2 Pfizer vaccines today say do your research, and if you're comfortable, sign up.
Please get it. We got to get this under control. You know, that's just it. We got to get this under control.
I can tell you guys the atmosphere here is absolutely electric. People very excited to get the first of 2 Pfizer COVID vaccines. Many even telling me they think Cleveland will be the safest and healthiest city in the state in just a few weeks.
All right, well, that stands to reason. Romney Smith, let me ask you this. Are there still slots available? And if so, how do people get them?
Yes, that's the answer. So we checked about an hour ago, and for tomorrow, Thursday, there were still a few dozen appointments available. So if you go to our website, WKYC.com, excuse the loud noise behind me, if you go to our website, you'll find a lot of information on what website you need to go to sign up. And also, keep in mind, you can be on a standby list because in about 24 hours, they'll be calling people saying, hey, there were cancellations, there were no-shows, come on down and get the shot.
All right, very good. And by the way, Romney, you may have set TV history. That may have been the first live shot I've ever seen that was photobombed by guys doing wheelies behind you. Always a thrill downtown.
Hey, I'll take it.
All right. Now, we mentioned that QR code. It's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Here's how that works. Just open the camera on your smartphone and then hover the camera over that QR code. And like magic, a tab will pop up at the top of your screen. Once you click on it, you're going to be routed to the WKYC Vaccine Guide. There, you'll find a bunch of stories about how to make an appointment to get this vaccine. It's pretty helpful stuff.
Well, now on your feet at 5, President Biden is coming to the Buckeye State. He'll be visiting Columbus on Tuesday to promote his health care and American Rescue Plan. No details yet on exactly where he'll be visiting in Columbus, but it does come on the anniversary of the Affordable Care Act being signed into law. Our senior health correspondent Monica Robbins joins us now. And Monica, the American Rescue Plan made changes to the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. How do they affect those who are actually using it?
Well, Bets, first of all, I can't believe it's been 11 years since ACA passed. This is going to help a lot of people, especially those who lost their jobs due to COVID. Some of you may be familiar with that thing called COBRA. That's the employer-offered health insurance you get to keep if you want it when you lose your job. But remember, it's really expensive because then you have to foot the whole bill. Well, now you can apply and the federal government will cover that fee for 6 months. Also, there's a special enrollment period right now. So if you use the federal marketplace at healthcare.gov, if you want to change your plan or you want to sign up for a new one, you now have until May 15th to do so. And the subsidy rates, they've changed too. So it's really important to check if you use it.
A great time for people to, look at making changes. If you've had a subsidy in the past, you'll probably find that that's increasing. And so you have not a deadline, but as of April 1st, you can actually make adjustments to your subsidies. And so if you've had a subsidy, you'll probably find that you're going to have a higher subsidy, which means you're going to pay less per month.
So, yay, more money in your wallet. And Medicare folks, you have until the end of the month to make changes in your plan, too. And if you need health insurance, this really is the time to look over your coverage. You can do it yourself by visiting healthcare.gov, or you can ask a licensed insurance broker to help you find a plan. And while this is all great news for some, I have to tell you, as of now, these options are set to expire in 2 years. Now, Congress may change that, but if you're looking for a deal, now is definitely the time to find one.
And who's not always keeping an eye out for a good deal, especially when it comes to your health care and getting good health care? Really appreciate that information, Monica. Thank you so much. And as we told you on Monday, the American Rescue Plan also changed how your 2020 unemployment benefits are taxed in this year's filing. Obviously, it will be causing a lot of confusion, and it has caused a lot of confusion since there's people who have already filed. Well, late this afternoon, the IRS announced that they'll be extending the deadline for filing your 2020 taxes by 1 month. So tax day, instead of April 15th, it's now May 15th to file.
Lights, camera, and finally, action. Playhouse Square is coming back soon. After being closed for a year due to COVID-19, Playhouse announcing its first live production will be in its theaters in June. Boy, is that music to everyone's ears. January, Keaton has details on the grand reopening and the foot-stomping show that will kick it all off.
Some nights I stay up, cashing in my bad luck.
This is such a historic moment for all of us to be able to announce the reopening of Playhouse Square.
It's St. Patrick's Day, so what better day to announce a production about a group of men singing and dancing and having a few pints in an Irish pub. That is The Choir of Man, and it's the first production marking Playhouse Square's grand reopening after COVID shut it down a year ago.
90 minutes, no intermission. It'll just be like the perfect night out at the theater.
Gina Vernacci is Playhouse Square's president and CEO. She says The Choir of Man will run 35 live shows at Playhouse's Mimi, Ohio theater starting June 11th. The show is described as a party, a concert, and a pint-filled good time with a cast of 15 men singing, dancing, drumming, all in a real working pub. But don't think you can foot stomp arm in arm with your neighbor. There'll be limited seating capacity and other COVID-19 safety precautions in place.
You can expect to wear a mask. Hand sanitizers, of course, will be abundant. We will be socially distanced in the Mimi, Ohio theater.
There will also be strict disinfection plans, new air filters in the vents, and seats will be sold in pods of 2, 4, or 6 to space people out. University hospitals and the world-renowned Cleveland Clinic help Playhouse with its safety plan for guests and artists for a rockin' good time.
And it's going to be a great deal of fun, a great deal of joy that will be in a very safe way.
Now, tickets are on sale right now for The Choir of Man. I'm so excited for this, you guys. I am such a theater nerd, I can't even tell you. They're going to run you between $59 and $79 through July 11th. You want to go to our website, WKYC.com. Oh, my mask keeps falling down, you guys. I don't have a very big nose bridge to hold it up. Okay, go to WKYC.com to get your information on the tickets. And by the way, they're already preparing for their fall schedule. They already have that going on, looking toward gearing up their Broadway series for the fall. I am so pumped. I'm such a theater nerd.
Yeah, listen, there are so many folks, January, that are very excited about this. I can't imagine those tickets are going to last very long. Probably going to be sold out in no time. All right, January, that's great news. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Coming up next on What's New, Ohio means jobs. How one local veteran went from being unemployed to helping close the gap between a specific field, thanks to the new program.
Plus, we have an update on Tiger Woods' condition 3 weeks after being seriously injured in a rollover crash. What the golf legend is working on now, that's ahead in Pop Break.
And Matt Standridge is in today. Matt, what a gorgeous day we had out there. I only wish it could stick around a while longer.
Right. Well, you're looking live over downtown. If you look off in the distance, there's some more high cloud cover, and that's going to be thickening up. Jay, we have some rain on the way. It's going to get a lot colder. A big system from the Gulf Coast to the Great Lakes headed our way. We're going to let you know how you're going to be impacted with the rain. It's coming up.
And tonight, our Save Our Sauce feature is Tapatias Taqueria. I am excited about this one. You know why? Listen to this. They specialize in authentic street tacos and jumbo margaritas with extra tequila. Check out this restaurant and more from our Doug Tretner, WKYC.com/Save Our Sauce. It's 5 o'clock, by the way.
Welcome back to What's New. The new stimulus checks and added unemployment benefits are certainly a boost to those who've been out of work. But Ohio is trying to make it as easy as possible for residents to get back to work permanently. As part of our Your New Job series, consumer investigator Danielle Serino shows us the state's new job site and the special push it's making to help unemployed veterans.
I voluntarily took the layoff due to the fact that I was the only one that had another source of some income.
Pretty selfless, but service is second nature for Sergeant Brandon Robinson after 14 years in the Army. Injured from parachuting, he was receiving veterans benefits while still working as a truck maintenance supervisor. Then the pandemic hit, and he became just another number.
I was starting to panic because, I was applying to jobs and I wasn't getting any hits. Very few calls or emails, none of which really led to interviews.
But all that changed when he went to Ohio Means Jobs, the state's program for job seekers, which has services specifically for vets, with 6,000 employers looking just for them and counselors to get them ready to connect.
Us veterans, we don't always see things the same. And we don't really know how to take what we have learned and transition it over to civilian world.
They helped him create a resume, even practice interviewing skills, services that are also available to the civilian population through virtual workshops and online classes.
There are over 80,000 jobs on the site that pay more than $50,000 a year right now. Wow. So there are a lot of jobs that pay, good wages that are career paths.
The program also pays training costs for certain jobs to help people transition, like those in the leisure and hospitality industries who've been hardest hit.
But you want to earn a skill, we'll pay up to $3,000 for you to go to a designated training provider. Those are the ones that we absolutely know that that we're having challenges finding enough people with those skills.
After about 2 months, Sergeant Robinson found another job in truck maintenance for $35 an hour. The agency also helped him find benefits for vets he never knew existed.
It was a resource that I don't think I'd be where I'm at right now without it.
Since there are so many opportunities available in IT, logistics, and manufacturing, Ohio Means Jobs is also offering to pay $2,000 to employers to train potential employees or upskill existing ones. I have more information on our website. I'm Danielle Serino, 3 News.
Thank you so much, Danielle. That's great information. Well, we have enjoyed beautiful weather today, despite the little fog we had this morning. We rebounded beautifully. Temperatures up around 60 degrees, seeing sunshine, but our friends to the south are having a very rough afternoon. As a matter of fact, Matt Standridge is in today for us at 5 and 7 because Matt Wentz is helping out a sister station of ours in Memphis, Tennessee with severe weather coverage this afternoon. So we have meteorologists literally near and far on our team today. But Matt, that storm system is going to just be one to keep an eye on for a lot of folks down south and here.
It's big. It stretches from the Gulf Coast all the way to the Great Lakes. We're not getting much today, but tomorrow we'll get our fair share of that rain and that wind. I want to take you to the weather maps this evening because this system is sparking several tornado watches on top of just warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings themselves too. But it's all thanks to this system that's still centered in western Arkansas. Now, there's that warm front. South of the warm front, they're getting all this severe weather. North of the warm front, we're watching some of this rain, but the wind's going to be picking up. Now, Betsy was just talking about how Matt Wentz, he's in Memphis. That gives you a closer look. He's under right now a tornado watch, helping remotely with our team down in western Tennessee. But the track of this storm system really dictates what you're going to see out of it. You live south of the warm front, you're getting storms. North of the warm front, we're going to be getting rain, but on top of that, that wind is really about to pick up. We had winds advisories across northeast Ohio going into tomorrow because a lot of times our gusts are going to be over 30 miles per hour. We had the sunshine today, but the high clouds are starting to thicken up from the south and west, and we're going to turn a little bit cloudier throughout the rest of the evening. But temperatures have been great this afternoon as long as you live a few miles away from the lake, right? We're in the 60s for most of us, but just within the lakeshore, a lot of us are still sitting in some 40s and 50s. I mean, you go from downtown to Medina, you go from the 40s to the 60s, so that's not too far. But the 3 things I want you to know as we move forward: tomorrow's going to turn very rainy, it's going to be very windy, and it's going to be a lot colder. Those 60s are going away. I mean, just look at the trend throughout tomorrow. I think a lot of your Thursday is going to be spent in the 40s, but on top of that, those sustained winds are going to be well into that 20 mile per hour range. But like we talked about, sometimes the gusts are going to be over 30 miles per hour, and eventually we'll dip into 30s tomorrow night. Let's walk through your National Design Mart hour by hour forecast. Tomorrow morning, this is 5 o'clock. The rain rain will be moving from the south and west, and we're going to have bands of rain pretty much all day. You see towards the top left side of your screen, there's those winds that are going to be out there as we stay in those 40s and some 30s. The rain's going to be pretty consistent, but by the evening, what's interesting, as we try to cool down close to the lakeshore, some of us may quickly try to transition over a couple snowflakes. We're not talking about, any kind of big winter system with this, but a few snowflakes might try to fly around as we really cool down going into early Friday morning. How much rain can you expect in your neighborhood? I think a lot of us are going to be near that 1 inch mark. Some of us maybe even a little bit more as you head farther towards the south. Here's your Union Home Mortgage 7-day outlook. Betsy, we got a big one coming in tomorrow, not just us, but across the eastern United States. Of course, we're thinking about Matt Wentz as he's busy tracking those thunderstorms. We're going to be not on the severe side, but the rain, the windy side, and it's going to be turning a lot colder as we head towards the first day of spring, Betsy.
Oh my goodness. Well, certainly our thoughts are with the folks in the Deep South, and we do want to reiterate, we did not send Matt to Memphis. Matt is remotely helping our sister station.
That's right.
From his home here in Northeast Ohio. So he'll be back to join us tomorrow. I'm sure he'll have some interesting stories to tell us too. Thank you very much, Matt Standridge. We'll check in with you again in just a little bit. Coming up next for us here on What's New, Elton John is speaking out, slamming the Vatican. Details ahead in your pop break.
Plus, a worth the watch of brotherly love. How a big brother stepped up to help calm his little brother down. It is terrific.
And this is a live look at the Wolstein Center in downtown Cleveland. I think we're supposed to call our drone the Flying Peacock. That was like one of the things that when we first got it, we were trying to title it. I have no idea if we're still supposed to call it that or not. Just an aside. But that's where the mass vaccinations are underway. Day 1 today of the first full vaccine clinic. We'll have an update from there coming up in just a few minutes. In the meantime, we'll be right back. Well, Elton John has a strong message for the Vatican, plus Tiger Woods is home recovering. Kara Cotton has those stories and more in today's Pop Break.
The legendary Elton John is calling out the Vatican for their most recent stance on gay marriage. On Monday, the religious institution said it cannot bless same-sex unions since God cannot bless sin. The iconic musician responded on social media saying, "How can the Vatican refuse to bless gay marriages because they are a sin, yet happily make a profit from investing millions in Rocket Man?" Rocket Man was a film released in 2019 that tells the story of John's life, much of which includes his rise to fame and decades-long union to husband David Furnish. Monday's ruling said that the church should still be welcoming towards gay people. Moving on to someone who is living their truth, Elliot Page is speaking out for the first time since coming out as a transgender man. In an interview with Time magazine, the Umbrella Academy star details his childhood, what led up to his decision, and the reaction he's received, saying, "What I anticipated was a lot of support and love, and a massive amount of hatred and transphobia. That's essentially what happened." The 34-year-old shared his decision with the public in a letter back in December after undergoing top surgery, a move he describes as not only life-changing but life-saving. And Tiger Woods is now recovering at his Florida home after being injured in a car crash last month. The veteran golfer suffered serious leg injuries when he crashed his car in Southern California. In a statement posted to Twitter yesterday, the 45-year-old golfer said he is grateful for the outpouring of support and encouragement that he's received over the past few weeks. He also thanked his medical care staff and said now that he's home, he's working on getting stronger every day. Now, Tiger Woods is no stranger to adversity, so here's to hoping he's back in the swing of things sooner rather than later. Back to you guys.
All right, Kiara, thanks. And I love the St. Paddy's Day green spirit, channeling your inner Irish. I like that. This is a good worth the watch. It highlights brotherly love. A mom posted this video on Twitter. It shows her 6-year-old son helping her little brother calm down by telling him to breathe.
Okay.
And Betsy, it worked. Little man was chill after his big brother told him, slow down, breathe. That's what big brothers are supposed to do right there. And I love it. It's been viewed more than 7 million times. I love it, Betsy.
I can tell you my 6-year-old little Violet has told me to slow down and breathe.
Oh, that's always interesting.
Breathe, mommy. Breathe. And I'm like...
And in that moment, that's probably the last thing you want to hear, right?
It is, yeah. Usually I'm pretty fired up by that point. But, you know, okay, I'll participate. Thank you for reminding me.
Play along.
From the mouths of babes. All right, coming up for us, everybody, in our next half hour, just how safe do you feel to travel? A doctor from the Cleveland Clinic weighs in on risk tolerance and more if you're planning to take a trip soon.
Plus, think about this. What are the top 10 puppy names so far this year? Some of them might sort of be a light on the sign of the times. It tends to happen that way. We have the list. It's coming up, clicking in Cleveland. Look at that one.
And as we celebrate St. Patrick's Day, there's a whole lot of history behind all of the green. Mike Polk Jr. takes us back in time. Coming up.
Miss Winston.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Welcome back to What's New, everybody, on this beautiful St. Patrick's Day. I am Betsy Kling, along with Jay Crawford.
Man, this felt like spring, and I know that it's just like a precursor of things to come. I know we've got a couple of days here that we're not going to love so much, but the weekend looks great, into next week looks great, and that gets us to our countdown bets. We are now 3 days away from the official start of spring. Yay! 3 days away. It's just our countdown. I think we started at 30 days or something, and it's just flown by as time has throughout the pandemic. And we're a little more than 72 hours away from the beginning of spring. I'm ready for it.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness indeed. Let's begin at 5:30, as we always do. 3 things you need to know. We're learning more about the man accused of killing 8 people in a shooting spree in Atlanta last night. Police say 21-year-old Robert Aaron Long admitted to the attacks at 3 different spas. Police tracked him down on the highway and arrested him. He's accused of trying to leave the state to continue his killing spree. Among those killed were 6 Asian women. Police say they are not ruling out racial bias as a possible motive. We'll have much more in a live report from Atlanta coming up tonight on What Matters Most at 6.
Meanwhile, back here at home, day 1 of the mass vaccination clinic taking place here in downtown Cleveland. This is a live look from above, courtesy of our drone. So far, recipients say it's going very smoothly inside. CSU's Wolstein Center was chosen because of its proximity to underserved populations. The state, county, and federal governments all hope this will help people get vaccinated. If you scan the QR code at the bottom left of your screen, that's that little funky-looking black and white box. You just hold your camera on your smartphone right up to it, and it'll pop up a link. That will take you to our WKYC vaccine guide. There you can find more information on the clinic. It will last for 8 weeks. You must have an appointment. Our guide also has links to free transportation options to get you there.
And number 3 on our list of 3 things to know, our COVID-19 numbers moved in the right direction today. Our number of new cases down more than 400 from yesterday, 1,458 new cases reported. And that actually helps to lower our 14-day rolling average by 18 cases. It's now down to 1,527 on an average over the last 2 weeks. Our official number of cases per 100,000 still stands at 155. Although the state hasn't updated that number in a week, our estimates have that number now down to around 149. Remember, though, the target to lose restrictions is 50 per 100,000. We are now at 2,495,000 Ohioans vaccinated with at least 1 shot. That represents 21.35% of the state's total population.
Well, today's top talker is about traveling in the middle of a pandemic. As more Americans get vaccinated, many are feeling safer about taking trips.
But there are still some safety concerns that we all have to be aware of before we hop on that plane. Today, our Jason Frazier is sharing some tips on staying safe in his New You series, which explores all the new things we can do as our economy begins to reopen.
The beach, the sun, the food. Many of us could use a vacation right now.
Most people have cut down travel tremendously, especially some of the higher risk patients. Especially here in Cleveland, we have a lot of patients that spend 3-4 months a year down in Florida. And many of people have even canceled those trips.
So many of you have canceled your trips. The airline industry lost an estimated $35 billion last year, according to CNBC. But thanks to the vaccine, things are slowly changing.
I am seeing more patients, even some in the higher risk categories, who are feeling safe with traveling.
However, the danger of contracting COVID still exists, and it's important to not let your guard down.
I think the main issue with various forms of traveling, especially airplanes, buses, trains, is that you kind of have that wild card of you don't know who's going to be sitting next to you and how they approach the pandemic, where the more you're around people that you don't know or who are outside of your bubble, the higher risk you are.
Experts believe just by sitting next to someone for 10 to 15 minutes, you could significantly increase your chances of contracting the coronavirus.
But you also have to understand and be aware of what your own personal level of risk tolerance is. There are some people who are still nervous going to the grocery store.
The CDC is still discouraging any unnecessary travel, even if you are vaccinated. However, if a warm destination is calling your name, make sure you're sitting 6 feet apart from non-family members and bring plenty of hand sanitizer. The TSA now even allows passengers to keep up to 12 ounces of hand sanitizer in your carry-on bags.
It all comes down to distancing, masking, and certainly being aware of what your hands are doing.
The safest way to travel may be to drive, since it likely won't include any interactions with people outside your bubble.
I've been recommending wearing a face shield. That is one extra level of protection that's actually quite comfortable.
I asked the doctor how long did he think travel restrictions would be in place and when we could finally return back to normal. He believed that it will depend on human behavior and whether or not the vaccine protected against additional COVID mutations and how many of us actually got the vaccine. In Cleveland, Jason Fraser, 3 News.
All right, Jason, thank you very much. Betsy, some governments want proof of vaccination before welcoming tourists to their countries or letting people attend events. One idea is something that's being called a vaccine passport. It would be an app or a digital file verified by your healthcare provider that shows you indeed were vaccinated. But as you can imagine, this comes with controversy. Some don't feel they should have to prove they've been vaccinated to take part in events. Others worry about the security of all of it. I got the shot today, and after getting the shot, I received a vaccine verification card. And for me personally, I have no problems showing it if it's going to make the process easier. I think, again, that this is public health. So I know there's a concern of privacy, but as it pertains to issues of public health, I think we all share in that responsibility to make sure we're living in the most safe environment we can. And that's part of it.
Well, Friday, there's a whole nother group of people that's going to be involved in trying to find those vaccine appointments. And you just kind of have to keep an eye on things. If you don't feel comfortable getting the vaccine, certainly that is your decision. But you also have to respect the decisions of people who are getting the vaccine. So respect is a pretty big thing.
Absolutely. And, to the point of the passport, if you choose not to get it and then some things are blocked off to you, I think that's part of the equation that everybody has to weigh as to whether or not they want to get it. You may not be able to do certain things if you don't have the vaccine. I think that's just part of it.
Still to be figured out. Speaking of vaccines, we mentioned our vaccine QR code at the top of our newscast. It's at the bottom of your screen. How about that? Tops and bottoms. But I just want to walk everybody through how it works. It's actually pretty easy. If you have a smartphone, you just pop on the camera of your smartphone. You hold that camera right up to the screen, right at that little black and white box. A tab will then appear at the top of your screen on your phone, and that is a link. Isn't that funny how that little magical thing works? You click on that link and it will take you to our WKYC vaccine coverage page on our website. Pretty nifty thing we got going there. Well, coming up for all of us, Dr. Amy Acton is back making headlines today. We'll tell you the new favorability she has on some Senate members and what it means going forward.
Plus, today marks the second year without a major St. Patrick's Day parade here in Cleveland, but Mike Polk Jr. set out to reflect on the small celebrations and history of this day, and that story is coming up.
Hello, Al. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We've got your Irish takeout guide. Okay, pop in here. Oh, that's so nice. Thanks for telling me that. All right. Hey, I need to collect a few more of those, but I'll start with one. Yeah, oh, thanks for telling me that, Al. I appreciate that.
Well, spring's about to spring here in Northeast Ohio officially, but certainly today was a nice taste of things that are still to come. We do have a little pothole to get through before we're back to smooth sailing, though. Matt Standards joins us today, filling in for Matt Wentz, who is helping out our sister station in Memphis today remotely. But Matt, we got to get through the next 48 hours before it kind of starts to improve.
Yeah, we've been trying to soak in as many 60-degree days as possible. And for the next probably 3 days or so, it's going to be hard to hit 60. We're just not going to do it. Headed into maybe Sunday next week, we'll go back to the 60s. So I like how you put it, a pothole. And it's due to this big storm system that's hitting the Ozarks right now, much of the southeast. And Matt Wentz, of course, is working remotely for Memphis, and they're under a tornado watch right now. Several severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings are towards our south, and it's thanks to this low pressure that's sitting along the Oklahoma-Arkansas state line. South of the warm front, that's where you have the severe weather. North of the warm front, so right here in Ohio, we're watching the clouds slowly increase and rain is on the way too. The storm track is going to head straight along the Ohio River, and so we're not going to get the severe side of the storm, but we're going to get the rainy and the very windy side. We're watching some high clouds start to move in from the south and west. Man, we had a great day, didn't we? We got well into the 60s away from the lakeshore. I mean, we're still sitting at 45 in downtown. It's just because we have a light northeast breeze, and the lake water is, of course, still really cold on Lake Erie. Tomorrow's temperatures, take a look at this. It's a complete color change, right? We're going to be in the 40s for most of tomorrow. Some of us will get into the upper 30s throughout the day, and it's because we have a soaker on the way. That low pressure comes in and we get the rainfall. We're going to have rain bands here all day long. Now, what's interesting is as we get closer to sunset and as we try to wrap up this whole system, some rain showers may try to switch over to a couple snowflakes mixing in at times. We'll be watching that very closely. We'll show you that here in just a second. But the big part of the story is that wind. I want to show you where the wind advisories are. They're along the lakeshore and then towards the west, because we have sustained wind possibilities between 20 to 30 miles per hour, but those gusts are likely to be up to 50 miles per hour. Here's just a look at where the winds could head throughout tomorrow afternoon. This is noon tomorrow. Wind gusts are going to be between 30 to 40 miles per hour. Look there in Sandusky, close to the lakeshore. A lot of times we'll have gusts over 50 miles per hour. It's going to be a very rainy and very windy day. I can't really stress enough how much the wind is going to impact your Thursday as you press forward. On the National Zymar hour-by-hour forecast, when you're looking towards the top left, that's just the sustained wind. Those gusts are going to be 20 miles per hour, sometimes above that, but the rain's going to be coming in. We're going to have a soaker. It's going to be pretty much showering the entire day. Now, notice by the evening, we try to break up some of the rain bands, but as some cooler air starts to move on in, Jay, we may have the chance to try to turn over to a couple snowflakes. Not talking about a lot of accumulation here, but just to remind us that, it's still technically winter, Jay, because spring does not officially begin until Saturday. The good news is that after the system ends, we're going to be cool for a couple days, but we're headed straight back to 60s, I think, by next week on that Union Home Mortgage 7-day outlook.
As soon as spring comes in on the calendar officially, those temperatures go up, and we will take it. Matt, thank you very much. We'll see you at 7. All right now it's time to see what's clicking in Cleveland. For that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Stephanie, happy St. Patrick's Day. I admire the green.
Thanks, Jay. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Today we got a new poll out, and it's showing Dr. Amy Acton leading among Democrats for a U.S. Senate seat. Now, we're talking about this because Senator Rob Portman won't be running again in 2022, so the seat is up for grabs. This poll is paid for by Action 314 Action Fund, which supports Dr. Acton, and it has her leading over Ohio Representative Tim Ryan by 24%. The poll shows that if it were just those two in a primary election right now, Dr. Acton would be favored to win. Now, she hasn't announced a run, but she has already stepped down from her job with the Columbus Foundation to explore that possibility. And it is St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone out there. We've got your guide to the best Irish takeout in town. Here are a few options. If we're talking corned beef sandwiches, we're talking about Slyman's Tavern, which is in downtown Cleveland, and it's the perfect day for that. On the east side, there's Corky and Lenny's, which also has great corned beef. And on the west side, in Cam's Corner, check out Public House. They've got your corned beef, Reuben's, and Irish egg rolls. For more options, go to WKYC.com. And there has definitely been a puppy parent boom in the past year, and there's a new survey with the top 10 puppy names so far for 2021. This survey is put out by Trupanion. That's a pet insurance company. That is a thing. Harry Winston the Puggle has pet insurance. Leading the pack for these names are Luna at number 1, followed by Charlie and Cooper. And last on the top 10 list is Max. Now, if we look at this top 10 list in the bottom half, Jay and Betsy, 3 of those names have actually never been on the list before. Any wild guesses what you think those names might be?
I'm going to say Sophie. That's what I named my dog.
Gosh, I don't know. Names that have not been on the list before that are, and they're in the bottom 10. I wouldn't even know how to guess on that.
All right, I think one of these might be inspired by Disney. We've got Milo, not that one, Bailey, and Coco. I think that's a Disney one.
Okay. I can see all of those being in there. Very good.
Super cute.
I still like your dog's name, and I can't hear him snoring today, so he must be off resting somewhere else.
A little more quietly, yes.
All right, great. Steph, thanks. We'll see you tomorrow.
Coming up for us here on What's New, it isn't like the old days, but it is so much better than last year, isn't it? No St. Patrick's Day parade, but many of our other traditions are kind of coming back. So our Mike Polk Jr. set out for a history lesson on the annual holiday.
Plus, you're about to meet a local girl who is having her dreams come true today. Her name is Rosie. There she is. And she is in with the Sharks, literally. That story's coming up.
All right, it's a little different, you know, St. Patrick's Day here in Northeast Ohio. We have to change it up because of the pandemic, of course, but cities like Westlake made the most of it with a little parade, and pubs like Great Lakes Brewery cheered at a safe social distance. And you know, it's funny, there is a thing that we love to say here in Cleveland, and that is, there's always next year.
Yeah, that's definitely appropriate in this case because next year the big parades and the celebrations should be back. But until then, here's our Mike Polk Jr. with his take on the disappointment of another pandemic St. Pat's and how St. Patrick's Day came to be.
Woo! Yeah, I love my heritage! I have a confession to make. I'm not really at a parade. See, I was just using my basement's cutting-edge green screen technology to simulate parade attendance in order to lift my spirits. because for the second year in a row, the beloved Cleveland St. Patrick's Day Parade has been canceled due to this wet blanket of a pandemic. It was the right call, of course, and the responsible move, but that doesn't make it any less of a bummer, because there should be several majestic horses trotting past me right now, and it should be so loud. It's not the same. And I will note that we Irish did get particularly hosed here in regards to the pandemic holiday calendar because we're missing 2 of these. Oh, but don't stress, everyone, because you know what holiday is totally safe from being canceled a second time since it's not until fall? Sweetest Day, aka our regional dollar bin Valentine's Day. So congrats, fellas. That contrived obligation should be good to go and awaits you in the autumn. The Cleveland St. Patrick's Day Parade goes way back. In fact, the first one was organized in 1842, and it was sponsored by the Catholic Temperance Society. That's right, Cleveland's first St. Pat's Parade was put on by teetotalers. If they could only see us now. It's probably for the best that they can't see us now, but I think that they like most of what we did with it. After all, what started back in 1842 went on to become a vibrant celebration that annually averages about 10,000 participants and more than 400,000 attendees. And it has endured. Take a look at this amazing parade footage from the early 1950s that was shot by the late, great Patrick McCafferty of North Olmsted and was recently uploaded by his grandson Owen. And keep your eyes peeled, because if you're from the area and you have an Aunt Bridget or an Aunt Colleen, there's a fairly good chance she might make a cameo from the past here pretty soon. We've had to make a lot of adjustments to our lives over the past year to keep ourselves and each other safe, like mask wearing, social distance, etc. And that hasn't been pleasant. But the adjustment that seems to have bothered everybody the most across the board is the interruption of our family gatherings and our traditions. But even though our traditions might look quite different from when they began, they're still rooted in something that connects us to each other and to the past. That's why of all the hardships and inconveniences we've had to endure during this past year, what has seemed to trouble us the most is being told that we can't spend Christmas with our families or attend opening day at the ballpark, or that we have to miss St. Patrick's Day for the second year in a row, yet somehow we're only gonna miss one stupid Arbor Day, and that is a holiday for trees. Sorry. Good? That's not helping. Okay, silver lining. I think having to take this mandatory time off from our traditions is going to serve to remind us to value them properly. Think how hard our holidays are gonna rock once we're out of this, now that we know what it's like to be deprived of them. So, here's the fireworks looking that much brighter this July, and the bagpipes sounding that much louder next March. Hang in there, folks. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and Sláinte. Now, more horses. Oh yeah, those are some good ones.
Yeah, something tells me he's still sitting down there staring at that green screen, Bets.
I think it's important to note that Mike Polk is not joining us live right now.
No. Yeah, he definitely is not joining
He is our favorite ginger, and we do definitely love to give him his day of the year. We tried that once. Do you remember? We tried Mike live in a pub once.
Yeah.
And that...
Good times. Good times.
It only happened once.
He makes 2 great points that I didn't think about. For starters, yeah, it does stink, especially for the St. Patrick's Day and the Irish fans, that you miss 2. And the other is, sometimes, and we've talked about this before during the pandemic, to truly appreciate what we had.
Right.
Losing it for a stretch drives that message home. And I think when we finally can gather again, it's going to be so much fun.
2022 is going to be good.
Look out. Look out, baby. All right, dreams are coming true for 7-year-old Rosie today. We're going to catch up with her as she becomes an official aquarist for the day.
To available appointments, I can't stress enough, hundreds of new appointments open. Mic check, this is Romney. We're talking about the first day of COVID-19 vaccinations in downtown Cleveland at the Wolstein Center. Okay.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Hey Al, mic check, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Stay cool. Test these 1, 2, 1, 2, sometimes 3, depending on your medical condition. You're welcome.
Meet 7-year-old Rosie. She's from Olmsted Falls and got to be an aquarist for the day at the Greater Cleveland Aquarium. A Special Wish Foundation worked with the aquarium to make her dream come true. Look how sweet she is. At 6 years old, Rosie's parents couldn't wake her up after she came down with a fever. It turned out she'd contracted a virus, and a mutation in her genes made that virus attack her brain. This little girl has had to learn to eat, drink, and walk and talk all over again, and now she's learning to become an aquarist. Her family says when she started talking, all she wanted to do was tell people about sharks and become a shark trainer. Look at those dance moves. She's all decked out in St. Patrick's Day green. You go, girl. Love to see another girl in STEM.
I think there's even words to describe how happy she is right now. She loves seeing all of it. Feeding the stingrays was probably her favorite thing.
God bless you, Rosie. You are an inspiration to all of us, too. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today here on What's New. We'll see you again back here tomorrow.
What Matters Most with myself and Laura starts right now.